want to start this episode off by saying it's really not who's gonna let you, it's really who's gonna stop you. Thank you for tuning in to the Real Men Group podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gray, and as always, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for tuning in to the fastest growing podcast on the internet. Yes, I'm saying the fastest growing podcast on the internet. Listen, it's not about who's gonna let you. It's really about who's going to stop you from achieving your goals. I would be a millionaire right now if I had $1 for everybody who told me, and the podcast, everybody has a podcast. There's 1,000,001 podcasters out here. You ain't gonna make it. But guess what? I'm 1,000,001 podcasters. And one thing I would say, yeah, it's a lot of people doing what I'm doing, but ain't nobody me. Ain't nobody is going to give you Mr. Gray better than Mr. Gray. And that's how you got to look at everything. You got to look at everything. Yes, it's 1,000,000 other people doing what I'm doing, but ain't nobody going to do it like me. And don't let nobody stop you. But thank you for tuning in to the Real Men Group podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gray. And as always, I'm so happy to be here. Let's dig right into this episode. Hobbies. For years, I've been trying to find the right hobby that fits my lifestyle between working these crazy hours and balancing being a parent. Having a little bit of a love life can be very tough, but a hobby is something that you do regularly, like to pass time, and normally is not for profit. But a wise man once told me, like, find something that you love so much that you would do it for free, but you do it so well, they will have no choice but to pay you. And that's something that has always stuck with me throughout my journey. And even up until this day, I have a lot more living to do, just like you. But these are the little gems that is needed for us to just understand where we are. So I found something that I love so much, which is this podcast. And I really, really enjoy doing this podcast. Even if I get one view, I don't care about the views. I care about the message and the people that I'm touching. And also for me, it is very, very therapeutic for me to be able to sit in front of you guys and talk about something that I have written, something that I have went through. Right now it's 2:00 in the morning and I'm standing behind this camera because I felt the need to record some content. So back to the hobbies, right? So I was one of the fellas that thought working was a hobby, right? Until work started to burn me out. Like, it burned me out. Used to get home, I had no energy to do anything, play with the kids, even returning a phone call. So work like burnt me out tremendously. So if you're one of the fellas who feel like work is a hobby and you are a workaholic and it's okay, it's not okay, because it's like a hamster wheel. It keeps spinning and that becomes your life. And shit just literally becomes the same every day. So work, sleep, and hopefully you're able to get something to eat that doesn't need to be popped in the microwave, especially for all the single men out there. So having a hobby isn't just dope. It promotes a great mental space to unwind from the world and the common day responsibilities. We all have bills, kids, children, or even a kid, right? I say kid because you may have one, you may not have multiple children, but bills is something that we all hate. But could you imagine like making yourself a bill? Some people say I can't afford to make myself a bill, but check this out, like pay yourself first with time. Secondly, if you have the finances to do it, utilize your finances, like within, a reasonable amount of money. Like, you don't want to not pay your rent to go out and spend money on yourself, but buy yourself something. Reward yourself for your hard work and all the efforts that you are putting into your family, that you are putting into your life. You would be amazed as to what a new pair of jeans or sneakers could do for your overall mental health. It just feel good. Like at that register saying like, instead of me buying things for the kids and, for the house and for the lady, I'm actually taking some money and spending it on myself. So that promotes great mental health. It gives you a sense of like, I work for this. I work for this. I was able to achieve some financial freedom, a little bit of financial freedom where I can afford to buy something for myself. Like, I got bills, just like you. Like what Kanye say, I have a few past due bills. I'm not going to be specific on what they are, but I'm the same way. Like, I have bills, but at the same time, I can't forget to pay myself and reward myself. So a lot of men think of self-care as cucumbers over the eye and a white towel wrapped around your head, but it's more deeper than that. Taking time to watch a game, go fishing. Like one of my dudes, Jimmy Ringo, shout out to Jimmy Ringo in the Real Man Group. He literally gets his guns, go in his backyard, and he shoots. That is his pastime. That is his hobby. And we all need those moments of self-care. But it's one thing that I must say about women. Yes, women. Women would always find time to have those moments. They always want to watch their favorite shows. They always have the girl night out. They're going out to brunch. Like, the men are normally the dudes that be at the door, welcome to the door, give them a kiss and say, be safe, have fun tonight. Look, the couch is heaven at times. I know, once you lay on that couch, you got the remote, you're in a real good space, right? But you got to be able to get out more, find a hobby, because you're going to lose those moments where you can just escape from the world and just be you in your own setting, in your own world. It's something that's worth looking into. So my stepfather, he had this thing called Do Nothing Tuesday, where he wouldn't do anything for anybody but himself. And that's something that I feel like we all should adopt in our everyday. I'm not saying like you're gonna neglect anybody, or you're not gonna sit down with your kid and go over homework, or ask your significant other like, how was your day at work? But at the same time, what he did was, everybody knew in the house that it was Do Nothing Tuesday. So we didn't ask him to do anything for us. We didn't even knock on the door to bother him, because during this Do Nothing Tuesday for him, he literally sat in his man cave and did whatever he wanted to do. He wanted to watch reruns of Sanford and Son. That's something that he can do. If he wants to sing Return of the Mac loud as fuck, he can do that, because that was something that he created. He created that day that was his. So Do Nothing Tuesday. It may not have to be Tuesday. It could be Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Weekends is usually for the family, but pick a day where you can have that do nothing day for no one else, just for yourself. Like, speaking of man caves, I didn't have one. My first man cave was the bathroom. I literally would sit in the bathroom for 30 to 45 minutes. Don't judge me, but it was my time to be away from everybody. And knowing that I'm in the bathroom and no one can just walk in, well, they're not supposed to walk in, but it was for me to just unwind. I listen to music there, scroll on the internet. I think of content to present to you guys while I'm sitting on the throne. Hey, it worked for me, and it probably works for a lot of fellas too, because I remember having a conversation with the guys in the Real Man Group. That's a group on Facebook where all this started, and a lot of people say a lot of fellas spend a lot of time in the bathroom. Like, that's their me time, where they can just unwind and really just not be bothered by anyone. But listen, you can also go to Home Depot. Home Depot got some pretty dope sheds. I mean, you throw some electricity in there, you throw some heat, some AC, and boom, you got you a man cave. So man caves are super big for us as men, and it pretty much promotes some really good mental health for us to head space and escape from everything and everyone. But look, let's address the elephant in the room. What's the elephant in the room? Is when your lady or your wife or significant other doesn't really support your hobbies, or feel like your hobbies is taken away from family time, from bonding time. So I heard a lot of issues that has been circulating around that women tend to not really like men having hobbies. And it sucks, but we are all human, right? We all love what we love. And I'm not gonna knock my lady, my wife, my significant other if she wants to spend time with me, but she also needs to understand that I need a moment for me. And that moment for me isn't really taken away from the love that I have for her, or like it's not that I want to be, not around her, but at the same time, I do need to be able to have some time for myself. So this is where you have a conversation with them and explain on how important it is for you as a man to have a hobby. So I read an article and it said that women and men should have separate hobbies. I believe that it's okay to have separate hobbies. Just like she's going out to not date night, but game night, right, with her girlfriends, and and you're out having beers with the guys. It's okay to have separate hobbies. But what's dope is, what if you guys like the same show? Like I was big on The Wire. I was big on Game of Thrones. Shout out to all the Game of Thrones fans out there. And I love the Knicks. So if you guys can have a shared hobby, like that shit would be dope. But ladies, chill out on the fellas who have hobbies. Trust me. You don't want them coming home from work and being all grumpy, and let them have their moment to unwind. Trust me, you're gonna thank me later for that. The same way that you need your moment to unwind, watch your show, have your glass of wine, like we need to have those moments too. So ladies, please don't give your fella a hard time when he has these hobbies. But there's a few hobbies that women just hate. Like they literally hate when men have these type of hobbies. Like they don't like when you're sitting around playing video games all day. I mean, but if you're working, man, like you don't really have time to sit around and play video games all day. But if you are someone who isn't working and your wife is working, your significant other is working, I can see how this could be a problem if you are home all day on the couch playing video games. So another thing is like drinking. They hate when men go out, get fucking wasted, come home, and they have to deal with it. They gotta help you take your clothes off and make sure you didn't leave the car running. So I can see how this could be pretty much an issue. But we can't get carried away with the hobbies. Like we need to be able to create some form of a balance, just like everything else in life. Like you have to take things in moderation, and within moderation, you'll be able to enjoy and indulge in these type of things, type of hobbies. So you have to be able to create that balance. Like too much of anything is not good, right? So going out drinking, of course you got to be safe, make sure you have a designated driver and all these things, but just try to do things in moderation. And the next thing that I came across was gambling. Like women just hate men that gamble. Like I love gambling. For me, it's a thrill, to people to sit down at a blackjack table and have fun, have drinks, smoke a cigar. It's a moment, but I can see how that could become an issue, especially if you like blowing your mortgage sitting behind a blackjack table. So I can understand how that could become an issue. So we're going to dig into the top hobbies that women can't stand. They can't stand when you have this type of hobby. They can't stand especially if you're dating, you got getting to know each other. And if you have these type of hobbies, they don't like it. They talk you to their girlfriends, to their friends and parents, and saying like, I'm dealing with this guy, I really like him, but he has this type of hobby. So I'm gonna go into number one. Like it's not in no order on like worst to grade. It's not in no order, but number one is like vaping. Vaping has become man. Like there's sports with vaping? Like, who can do the most circles? Like, I saw this one guy, like, he was phenomenal with vaping. Like, he was doing hearts, and hearts was going through the circle and squares, and he was blowing it backwards. Did he? Was doing so many things with the vaping, like it was amazing. But number two, I mentioned it before, like gambling, going to the casino and all this money and betting. Like, okay, sports betting. Like I said, I enjoy gambling, but you know, just like anything else, you have to do things in moderation. Like it can't be excessive. It can't be something that you cannot move on with your day-to-day without placing a bet. So, you know, trying to hit that $1 million parlay, I tried it several times, you know, long shots, but you know, I overall enjoy like the thrill of it and being able to $1 million possibly, right? Number three, day drinking, going out and having drinks all the time, you know, meeting up with the fellas all the time, having drinks, and you know, these are number three, that don't make any sense, but of going out and having drinks. So number four is playing video games. You know, you on Call of Duty all night, you know, you're playing 2K, you know, they literally sitting there like, why is he not over here? Why is he not with me? And we're watching Love and Hip Hop, or you know, Love Jones. You know, why is he over here having, you know, conversations with somebody in India playing Call of Duty? But you know, these are the things that women talk about. So number five is being the person that sports is life. Like, I'm a big Knicks fan, and I mean, I need to watch the games. If I'm not working or with the kids, you know, like I need to be able to watch my Knicks play because that's my pastime. That's one of my hobbies. But, you know, it's almost like Sunday. Those who are into football, you know, Sunday is like church to those who follow football, right? So you got to sit there, you got to be able to watch these games. And Friday night for Knicks fans is huge. Friday night Knicks on MSG is something that we look forward to. But like I said, it's all in moderation, right? I don't know if I can compromise Friday night Knicks, and I'm pretty sure you can't compromise Sunday football, but you know, have these conversations. So number six, as I mentioned earlier, is working as a hobby, like being a workaholic. And that's something that I was guilty of too. That work became my life, like that hamster wheel I was saying earlier. Like, I felt like going to work was something for me to do every day. You know, came home, you know, put my lunch bag down and prepared for the next day and did it again and again and again and again. Like, a lot of us fall victim of that. And I feel like, you know, men becoming these workaholics is something that we are conditioned to because we are providers. We are providing for a family. And, you know, that's something that men do. Men are providers, and work is one way to be able to provide, you know. And number seven, I think that we all men, come on, let's keep it real. Dating was a hobby for us. It was something that we have looked forward to. Like, it was exciting to meet a new woman that, you know, it was great. So I can see how that became a hobby. You know, I wouldn't really consider it to be a hobby. It was more so like a sport for us. You know, dating multiple women to see who can get the most numbers. Like, yeah, in my younger day. But in all fairness, fellas, like, find a hobby, have a conversation with your lady. Make sure she understands the significance behind you having a hobby. I didn't have a hobby, and it's crazy, but I didn't have a hobby. I literally had to find something that I loved so much that it didn't feel like it was work to me. You know, like, I enjoy gardening. I enjoy, you know, planting flowers and grass seeds, and it didn't feel like work to me. Like, on Saturday morning, I really was looking forward to getting up and throwing some grass seeds or some fertilizer. It's nothing like starting something and seeing it grow. Like it's something to a man. Like we were able to achieve a goal. Like we conquered this. We were able to learn and make something out of nothing. Like that does something to us. But something like going to the gym. Going to the gym is dope. You get your body right. And it also promotes a healthy lifestyle and great mental health boosts when you go into the gym. Get your blood flowing, get your mental right and get your body right. So that's a pretty good hobby for you to pick up. So, listen, I'm just a vessel, and hopefully you guys were able to gain something from this episode. And ladies, I hope that you are able to gain something from this episode, because men need hobbies, and you need to understand it's not that we don't want to be around you. Sometimes we really just need to have that moment for us so that we can recharge, the same way you take your cell phone and plug it into the charger at night. Like we need to recharge and refuel. And how we do that is just having these moments that we can call ours. So, fellas, get you a hobby. Fishing, riding bikes. A lot of the fellas like to hunt. As I mentioned, my big bro, Jimmy, like to shoot his guns. Go out there and find something that can take your mind away from the everyday responsibility of being a man. And you're going to thank me later, and this I promise you. So those of you who are watching this video, put a comment in the comment section. Like, let us know what your hobbies are. You may have something that we didn't know even existed, like skee ball. I know skee ball because I'm from Brooklyn, Coney Island, play skee ball. But what if somebody in Minnesota didn't know what a skee ball is? You could probably help somebody find them a really good hobby. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Right there. It's right there. As I always say, it's free to subscribe, and it will help the channel grow. Please like this video. It will help us move up in YouTube. The YouTube world is crazy. If you're not getting likes, you're not getting subscribers, it's just you're going to stay where you are. But thank you for tuning in to the fastest growing podcast on the internet. I'm Mr. Gray, and as always, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for tuning in.